Are you experiencing pain that just keeps moving from one body part to another body part? Maybe you're feeling some puffiness under your eyes or swollen lymph nodes or maybe even swollen ankles. Or you keep getting sick. You keep getting anything that comes your way. Well, today we're going to dive into 5 different potential inflammatory triggers that you could experience. Hi, my name is Dr. Ariane Missimer. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, doctor of physical therapy, and registered dietitian. And I love to talk about this topic because it is so prevalent in so many conditions. In fact, 75 to 90% of all chronic disease is now associated with excessive or persistent inflammation. So that means that it's something we want to be talking about. So let's start with normal inflammation. If you get an ankle sprain and you roll your ankle, you're going to have a normal inflammatory response. That's typically going to be within the first 4 to 5 days. You'll have some swelling, you'll have some pain, you'll have white blood cells coming to the area. You might even have some warmth. That is exactly what our immune system is supposed to do. Now, when we get into things like excessive or persistent inflammation, this is when the acute inflammation either becomes chronic or we begin to lose our tolerance for things. And this is the example that I gave of when you just feel like things just keep happening. So one thing resolves and then there's another thing. It almost feels like bad luck. Well, this is what typically is associated with this chronic or systemic inflammation. And so now let's get into 5 potential inflammatory triggers. And obviously these are categories of things, but it at least can get you thinking of what might be contributing to your inflammation. Number 1 is food. So food is medicine. And when we're thinking about food from a nutrient repletion standpoint and how nutrients are affecting every reaction in our body, then not only can a lack of nutrients cause inflammation, but we can also have potentially inflammatory foods. So that could be anything from a food allergy, a food intolerance, or even a food sensitivity. And these foods that we might be consuming on a regular basis could be either perpetuating or even contributing to inflammation in the first place. Number 2 is bugs. So we can think here of something like Lyme disease. So we can have tick-borne disease. We can have parasites. So if you're traveling outside of the country, if you've traveled in general, if you have a dog, all of these things might make you more at risk for a parasitic infection. I do stool tests all the time. I've done hundreds and hundreds of stool tests. And I will say that I don't see parasites on stool tests often, but they do show up. And when they do, it's something that needs to be addressed. Number 3 is toxins. So we can have internal toxins and we can have external toxins. So in our world, we are exposed to toxins all of the time. So we are exposed to plastics. We are exposed to chemicals in our cleaning products, in our facial products, in our hair and shampoos. So we are exposed to it all of the time, everywhere. But we can also be exposed to things like mold, for example. We can also have an infection that can be related to an internal toxin. So that can be even a viral infection, for example, a bacterial infection. Number 4 is trauma. So this can be emotional trauma, this can be physical trauma, this can be ongoing current stress, or it could be trauma that we've experienced maybe even as a child. So all of this can also perpetuate an inflammatory cycle. Stress, in fact, does change the colonization of bacteria in our gut. So our gut is 70% of our immune system. So over time, that can contribute to an inflammatory response. And number 5, last but not least, is hormones. So this can look many different ways. This could be a thyroid issue. This could be your sex steroids. This could be high estrogen, so an estrogen dominant state. This could be low testosterone. It could be low progesterone. So this could present so many different ways, even an insulin resistant situation. So when we start to have, if you look at all of these potential categories of triggers, and obviously this is not all extensive, but it does help you to get an idea of what could be happening in your body. When you have more of these that are present, there is a greater chance, of course, that you may have a greater inflammatory response. So you can just think of it as basic math or physics. So we have all of these things. If there's more of them, then there's greater potential. So when you're starting to go down the path of what might be an issue for you, these are some of the things that you can look at from an overall lifestyle perspective to see how you can begin to heal your body. And know that no matter what comes up in any of those categories, there are solutions for it. So you can change your diet, you can influence your hormones by what you're eating and how you're sleeping and your stress levels. You can address maybe past traumas. You can treat infections, you can treat parasites. So just know that no matter what, you are able to address. So first identify and address and heal your body. Okay, if this was helpful, make sure to give it a like, give it a share, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Movement Paradigm, for weekly tips on mindset, nutrition, and movement. And don't forget to check out our app, the Movement Paradigm app on Apple and Google, for a comprehensive approach to health. And just know that you can always reach out for an individual session because we would love to help you on your journey.